Welcome to the Airgun Show, brought to you by Airgun World magazine. Check out the show description for some brilliant magazine subscription offers which include shooting insurance. In this week's episode, I'm going to be taking a look at the brilliant little BRK Brocock Ranger XR. But before that, I'm targeting corvids and rats on the farm with the Zulus digital day and night scope. Right, I'm on the farm today and there is a really good chance of us making a mixed bag. Just had a quick look round and there do seem to be a lot of corvids around. We've seen crows, rooks, jackdaws and even magpies. One of the stores that we've had a look in has got some feed sacks in it and you can see that the corvids have been absolutely annihilating them. I initially thought that the holes had been made by rats, but you can see that they're puncture marks from the birds' beaks. It looks like they've been shot with a machine gun, so they've been causing problems in there. In that same store there's some stored machinery and it is just caked in their droppings. Some of it's literally white with them. Just to the side from there are cattle troughs, so again, as well as stealing feed, these birds are posing a disease risk. We've also seen a few signs of rats, so maybe even a chance of shooting one or two of them later on. Kit wise for today, I've tried to create a relatively affordable day and night setup. So I've got the Reximex Pretensis. This one is 177 caliber, sub 12 foot-pound, which is perfect for shooting around the farm buildings. Now, apart from being an affordable airgun, it's also really accurate. I've paired it with my trusty QYS pellets. In this instance, it's the domed 9.56 grain version, and it is literally stacking them on top of each other. I've been really impressed with these pellets from the outset, and I'm amazed at just how many of my different air guns actually shoot well with them. Optics wise, I've got the Airgun Zulus from Scott Country. Really nice compact little digital day and night scope. It is absolutely packed with features, some of the really handy ones being an onboard laser rangefinder and also a ballistic calculator which will calculate your relevant holdover and under over different ranges. Now, a lot of you have probably seen this scope doing what it does by night. I've already used it a bit for ratting, and after dark it has performed brilliantly, but I thought today it would be interesting to see what it is like in that full colour daylight mode. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get myself settled in, maybe put out one or two decoys first, and we'll see if we can't start with a few of these corvids. Well, that is not a bad start. Now, although I usually limit myself to headshots when I'm using a sub 12 airgun, you will probably have noticed that I took that one with a heart and lung shot. Now, the fact is, it's not a particularly long range, and also these are pretty slightly built birds and nothing like as stocky as a wood pigeon. There's not the same thickness of breastbone and muscle, so the consequence is that there's effectively less meat and bone for the pellet to drill through before it hits a vital organ, and like that, as long as you hit them nice and squarely, you will get those clean kills. literally felt the thump of that one hitting the ground through my backside, then it came down so hard. Now you will probably notice from the footage that I actually shot that one through the wooden slats that make up the side of this barn. Now it's not a very wide gap, I guess it's about 1.5 inches, but thankfully, because of the angle gauge that I can see on the screen of the Zulus, I can make sure that I'm not canting the gun at all, which means that the barrel is exactly in line with the line of sight, and I know if I've got the crosshairs through the middle of those slats, the pellet is going to pass between the middle of those slats. And it also happens to be giving me a brilliant bit of cover. I've got trees out on the open side of the barn without the slats, so I've got loads of nettles and things growing there, keeping me pretty well concealed. But where the slats are, you know, those crows are out there in broad daylight. It's quite shady in here. They're just completely oblivious to the fact that we're in here. Well, another one absolutely hit for 6 there, and I think it's pretty fair to say that this little scope can indeed cut it in the daylight. Now, I mentioned earlier on about the fact that we're quite nicely concealed in here, bit of natural cover, we've got the shade and just the shield from the slats, but I think also one or two of these birds are failing to notice us for the simple fact that their attention is too focused on that crow decoy. Now, I have a feeling these trees are the sort of trees that birds are just using for a lookout on their way in and out of the barns anyhow, but so I had an inkling that they would be pitching there anyway, but I just think the addition of, and I've only put out a single crow decoy, but that's just giving incoming birds that little bit more confidence that there are already birds around the yard. It looks like they're safe and happily settled there, and it's just giving the incomers confidence to land and stop and present me with a nice still target. It's a magpie, mate. Really close. Well, apologies for failing to focus properly on that one. That magpie was a pretty close shot, and frankly I just didn't want it to spot us, clock us and clear off before I had a chance to pull the trigger, but it's another one absolutely clobbered, and another one less potentially spreading disease and stealing that feed. It has been a bit slower though. I'd say the last half an hour or so it's gone quite quiet, so I think it's probably a good time now to move on and see if we can't get 1 or 2 rats. Now, before we settled in here, I did actually put down a handful of breadcrumbs in a spot that tends to produce rats here by day and certainly by night. So I think that's where we'll head. First of all, I'm going to pick up these birds, and particularly that magpie, because Nikki here uses their tail and wing feathers for tying fly hooks. At last, we actually had quite a wait for that rat, longer than I'd expected. It had come out a couple of times, but being that it's not dark yet, it obviously felt quite vulnerable, and it was taking feed and darting off again. So what I ended up doing was ranging to the bait spot, letting the ballistic calculator give me the aim point, and then just leaving it there. Next time the rat came out, obviously I was ready, knew where to aim, clobbered it. So that went to plan. But I'm going to actually make that the last one, because they actually need to crack on with some work down this end of the farm now, so it's about to get pretty noisy down here. But I think we have proved that the Airgun Zulus is a really effective piece of kit by daylight, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hang on, probably move across to the other side of the farm when it does get dark, which isn't going to be long now, switch across to night vision, see if there are any more rats about, and if that proves to be productive, we will show you that another time. A quick clarification, the scope that I was using for that shoot is now known as the DNT Zulus. Next up, I'm taking a look at the super compact BRK Brocock Ranger XR. If you like your air guns compact, here's one you really should know about. It's the Brocock Ranger XR, and in fact it's so compact that it was too small to fit on my gun stand, so I've had to pop a bipod onto it. So this little air gun weighs about 2.3 kilos unscoped and folds down to just 44 centimeters long, making it perfect for a truck cab or even a backpack. Its recommended retail price is £1,294, and don't be fooled into thinking that this is a gimmick gun. It's actually a really serious little shooting machine. The Ranger XR has several seriously innovative features, one of them being its stock. Now it's length adjustable, meaning that you can shift your length of pull from 35 to 42 centimeters with various stop points in between. Now all you need to do to make that adjustment is press in the button and slide the rear section of the stock in and out to your preferred position, release the button and it locks securely into position. That adjustability means that the gun's overall length can vary from 66 to 73 centimeters, and this stock has another trick up its sleeve, that being foldability. Simply push the rear section of the stock up to unlock it and it literally folds in half. Fold it back out and it snaps really securely back into position, ready to shoot. The buttstock is also interchangeable, and that means that you can swap it out for other designs. That said, I think the standard one is perfectly good. It feels great in the shoulder and it's comfortable to shoot from virtually any stance. For most shooting, you're going to find your leading hand towards the front of the Ranger XR cylinder, and that feels comfortable enough. There is actually a front accessory rail there, and I think that most shooters like me are probably going to want to use that for bipod attachment. There is also the option to add side rails. I really like the pistol grip. It's steep, grippy, and gets me straight onto the trigger. So the gun has dovetail scope rails, or you can also use an intermount to convert it to Picatinny. Now the two sections of the rail do actually straddle the magazine, so you need to be mindful of that when choosing scope mounts. Or you could go for a little MTC swap prismatic scope like the one I've got on here, which only actually uses the rear section of rail. Now these tiny little scopes are fantastic. They're brilliantly suited to very compact and even bullpup type air guns, and despite being so small, they offer an incredibly wide field of view and just really crisp, clear viewing. Now as you can see, the Ranger features a fairly slimline shroud on the barrel, and it's also threaded to accept a silencer. The Ranger XR runs BRK Brocock's brilliant self-indexing magazine, which holds 13 shots in 177 caliber and 11 in 22. A single shot tray is also supplied. Now the cocking and loading mechanism is driven by a really slick side lever action, and that lever is nicely positioned just above the pistol grip and features a really nice oversized drop down handle, which I really like. Now the mechanism is absolutely brilliant. It's smooth, reliable, and keeps shots coming without any fuss at all. The current range of BRK air guns have very good triggers, and the two-stage unit on this one is certainly up to scratch. The match type blade feels great and is fully adjustable, and the two-stage mechanism is also adjustable. As ever though, I'm testing this one straight out of the box. Now first stage weight and travel are exactly what I'd expect from a decent unit, and the second stage brake is crisp, predictable, and absolutely free from any creep. The switch type safety catch is positioned just in front of the trigger blade. Yes, I do prefer a safety to be further from the trigger, but it's certainly easy to access. It's in the safe position when it's across to the right, and then you just simply push it across to the left when you're ready to shoot. This little BRK Brocock is equipped with a humour regulator, which makes for efficient and consistent performance. The 177 caliber test gun is running at about 11.4 foot-pounds, and consistency is within 5 feet per second over a string of 10 shots. Maximum fill pressure is 230 bar, and remaining air pressure is displayed on the gauge at the front of the cylinder. The high power version of the Ranger XR is churning out a muzzle energy of 18 foot-pounds and can still return about 30 shots from a single fill of its little cylinder. Now this 177 caliber sub 12 model is doing about 35 shots per fill, and you can expect around 40 shots from a sub 12 2.2. Now when it is time to refill with air, it's simply a matter of rotating the collar at the front of the cylinder to expose the inlet and then plug in with the supplied probe. Finish and build quality look and feel very good to me, although as a hard-working demo model, this particular gun does have a few bumps and scuffs, but it wears them well. Now one feature worth picking up on is the Ranger XR's adjustable power. Now, most people with sub 12 models are probably going to want to keep it cranked up on full output, but should you wish to wind it down, there's a dial just in front of the side lever, and it has 3 different stop points. The new breed of BRK Brocock airguns have match-winning pedigree when it comes to accuracy, and that feature is certainly evident on this one. It's easily accurate enough for tackling live quarry over typical airgun ranges. I've not had a chance to do any really extensive pellet testing just yet, but the first one I tried, which was Daystate Rangemaster Sovereign, seems to be bang on. With those pellets, this gun's single holing at 30 meters, and it's still pretty close to that at 40 meters. So that is the Ranger XR from British gun maker BRK Brocock. Now this gun packs a heck of a lot of features and performance into its tiny frame, and that is its big appeal. Apart from being accurate and reliable, it is just super transportable, and that's made it a big hit with hunters who don't want to be bogged down, as well as shooters who just want something a bit different. And if you treat yourself to the BRK Pathfinder gun bag backpack, which also fits the Ranger, it's even easier to transport. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for in this week's episode, but as ever, I'll be back again with more in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Do also check out the subscription offers that we have for Airgun World magazine, which include shooting insurance. Now, the details of that are in the show description. While you're there, do also sign up for the Airgun World newsletter. It's absolutely free and it keeps you bang up to date with everything we've got going on at the magazine. Also coming up on this channel, we've got the Airgun World podcast. And as I said at the outset, I'm back again with more in 2 weeks' time. In the meantime, enjoy your shooting and stay safe.